Good evening, everybody. Welcome to The Last Word with myself, Stu Woolley. Stepping in once again for Callum, who I think will be back in the next week or two. So he'll take me off hosting duties and Callum will be back. Just before we go into introducing the panel, just want to remind everybody that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So everybody here at All For United puts their thumbs up to all the girls out there and the lads that actually suffer from this awful disease. If any of you guys are out there and anyone wants to talk to anyone from All For United regarding it, whether you've got it in the family or you know somebody, any one of us on the panel is there. You can see us by our Twitter handles, but big up to everybody and great to, keep supporting a brilliant charity, because it's unfortunate that people and women in particular do get this, and everybody knows somebody in some description that's suffered from this awful disease. So keep it pink, everybody, for October. Right, guys, let's talk about today's game. I've got a wonderful panel in front of me. Got Mr. Ton again. I've got Richie's joining me again. He must like me a little bit to come on my show. I've got my good old mate Marcus and John, fresh from the pub. You're not hammered, are you, John?
No, I'm not hammered at all now.
Good lad. Hey, look, let's jump straight into it. Whether we like the performance, we dislike the performance, whether or not we expected better or we expected worse, we've come away with 3 points. I think it moves us up to 5th in the table, a point behind Chelsea. I will have to check that because I haven't checked it. Mr. Tom, just give us an overview about what your feelings are of the game and what we can expect really moving forward.
First half, once the first half was done, I was like, oh, that was impressive. I saw a spell. We controlled the midfield, and even though, conceded a goal and everything, but it was that little bit of control that I saw for a glimpse that I haven't seen for previous games. Yes, there were some sloppy moments from the team overall, but then second half is what, for me personally, concerned me. Again, I saw those gaping holes for the midfield and allowing Everton to play. And there's something that I've noticed, and I don't know if any of you other guys have noticed as well, especially used to. Before the break, we played with a sort of aggression intensity, and it's like it's dropping off. And that's what I think, because I remember watching a Liverpool game with Tranel and one of our mates, Shubs, and that defense and that intensity was like, I was like, yeah, I was loving it. And I'm not seeing that right now. And it's just falling off a little bit. And that does concern me, especially the run that we've got, Newcastle, Spurs and Chelsea. That's how I view the game. Yes, we got the win, but now we look to the next game. And that's how I view the performance. Yes, I'm happy with the win, but there is things that concern me, just like how before the City game, the midfield concerned me and City exploited that weakness of ours. And that's the problem that I have. I think overall, the goals were good. The passer from Casemiro to Ronaldo, that break the lines, you know what I mean? We don't see that a lot in our team. Balls that break the lines, play a couple players at the team. Anthony, 3 games, 3 goals. What can you say? Yes, we can talk about his performances, but the people that do love the GA, 3 goals, 3 games, isn't it? There's not much we can say about him.
So you're right to talk about intensity though, because the previous interviews during the week, Ten Hag was talking about our lack of nastiness, and I've spoken about it for a long time, guys, as you all know. And he wants us to be clever, but he wants us to be nasty, and it should be, that should be second nature to any footballer. You should have this nasty streak in you, this dark streak, and you should know how to get away with it on a football pitch. But you're right, really. When you look at what we did to Liverpool and what we kind of did to Arsenal, I was expecting something to kind of come out from the devil's pantry, so to speak. You want to see people exploding onto the pitch, be explosive in their play, be explosive in the tackle. But then again, when you look at Anthony Gordon's tackle, where he got yellow carded for against Bruno in deep in the second half, if you remember, it was a phenomenal tackle. He won the ball clean. But the modern day football doesn't allow it. It's annoying. Richie, good to have you back on again, mate. What's your thoughts?
Pretty much just like what Tom said. I just want us to be more consistent in how we're playing. The first half, there was patches where we kept the ball, but then again in the second half, it was back to normal. It's like the players literally resorted back to type, losing the ball and just giving the ball away needlessly when there's no need. They're trying to force things that we don't have to force, and that's something that I don't know if it's going to be what Ten Hag can coach these players, because I think it's just common sense. I think they don't need to play these passes, and they should be thinking about what they're going to do with the ball when they receive it, and what they're going to do with it. They shouldn't just be giving the ball away like they are. And then on the defensive side, I just think the midfield, I think it's hard to get a balance with the midfielders we got to, I don't know, because for me, it doesn't matter what three we're playing in there, or two if we're set up in the 4-2-3-1, but it just seems like everything just goes straight through the middle of us, no matter what, where we should be forcing teams to go down our sides and then win the ball. But yeah, for me, I'm happy we got the 3 points anyway. I'm not his biggest fan, but Ronaldo, he's got his 700th goal, and I'm just happy Anthony goal scoring form anyway is continuing.
Yeah, just before I move on to Marcus, you mentioned about us giving the ball away a lot, or they're panicking on the ball. What do you think it is, or why do you think it is? A professional football
I think
at the elite level cannot control pass a football.
I don't know if it's. I don't think they shouldn't be nervous, because obviously they're professional footballers, but at the same time, I think, are they overthinking it, where they get the ball and they know they want to pass, say, to the left back, but then someone's shouting, pass it somewhere else, so they're like, oh damn, and they just, I don't know what it is, but for me, I don't think it's acceptable personally. They got you. If you see a pass, just make the pass, get the ball back, go out the other side if you need to, but just keep the ball moving. That's something that we try to do, and just, like I said, give it away needlessly.
Yeah, Marcus, you're quite vocal about how we give the ball away and how we can't control games of football. Have you seen anything in today's game that's, and I share Mr. Ton's view, by the way, and Rich's view, the next 3 games are going to be really testing for us. So with the introduction of Casemiro, we'll talk about him in a bit anyway. Did you see any control in the game? Did it give you any kind of hope, really, that the starting 11 today would be something we could nurture and potentially use more often than not?
Yeah, it's difficult, really, because I mean, when you look at the possession stats, I think we're at close to 70% possession throughout the game. I think there was a period where we actually had about 80% of the possession, and we really did dominate the game. But it's hard to see that, because, like Richie and Ton said, we needlessly give away the ball in moments where we're up in a game, we're away from home, we have an opportunity to really just turn it into a training session, and for some reason we treat the ball like it's a ticking time bomb. We treat it like somebody's left a bomb on a plane and we're just trying to get out of there as quickly as possible. It just, honestly, it's infuriating. But I think the one positive is that Casemiro, he looks a lot more calm. Casemiro played, it's usually not celebrated in the fan base when somebody plays so many sideways and backwards passes, but today I think it was a good thing, because clearly he was just trying to slow things down. There was even a few moments where Bruno and Eriksen went up and gave the ball away, and he was just trying to get them to calm down, so that's cool. Again, Delo losing the ball a lot. That shows that, he's not really comfortable with Casemiro yet, because a lot of the times when Delo lost the ball, he was passing it towards the middle. Which to me suggests that he's not quite comfortable yet playing with Casemiro, because with McTominay, it wasn't as bad, right? So I think there's an adjustment period that needs to happen there between Casemiro and the fullbacks and Casemiro and the rest of the team. But apart from that, I don't really have much else to say. I think Casemiro was a positive today. Yeah. Still not convinced about the pair of Bruno and Eriksen. I'm not going to lie. I really do feel like they cancel each other out. Martinez was solid in terms of holding the ball, so no complaints with him. It's a mixed bag, really. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It really is. And I think the only reason that I'm tolerant of tonight's performance and I'm calm, I'm not really upset, is because I know how difficult it is to go to Goodison Park. Not just this season, but in general, we struggle there. So I don't know. Maybe I went into this game with low expectations and I wasn't as disappointed as everyone else. But yeah, I'm okay. I'm content with today's performance. It's not great, obviously. We need to fix some things, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no. John, welcome to Sunday evening, my mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, absolute pleasure. I'll get your interpretation of the game in a few minutes, but Simon Davis has been quite vocal in the comments, and he talks about what we talk about on a regular basis here, Simon, if you've ever tuned in. My go-to phrase has always been desire, hunger, and work rate. It always has. Plus, smashing any player you can into row Z just to get a footing in the game. Just give us your thoughts on that, John, and then expand into the game, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I do think you did see desire from the game today, and certainly hunger. Obviously, it's been discussed there, particularly in the preview. Everton is probably one of the toughest grounds to go to in the league. And it was an evening game. The crowd's got to be up. Obviously, we conceded in the first 5 minutes, which wasn't ideal. But I think the way we responded to that was positive. I do think we did play well in the first half. Obviously, we got 2 goals. It such fun, Anthony 3 goals and 3 in the Premier League, which is obviously a good start for him. But for me, I do think we did control the game a bit better today. I would say that. I think Casemiro has made a big difference in that. And I think when you look at overall, Everton, I know they scored in the first 5 minutes, but they didn't really trouble us too much in terms of chance creation. Obviously, they were going for equaliser in stoppage time. They won, I think it was 3 corners in stoppage. Ramadan De Gea obviously made a save and that. But I just think it was better to say not perfect, which Marcus touched upon and that. But I do think we controlled the game a bit better today. I think in the first half, we should have scored more than the 2 goals we actually scored. When you think of some of the chances we had, obviously Casemiro missed that header. Obviously, there were a few scraps in the box. Like Martial had the chance, for example. And I think overall how we responded to the goal that we conceded earlier, and that was most pleasing for the performance. When you can see the first 5 minutes with the crowd up, United, we've seen lately in the past year, you think we could lose to a 3-0 potentially today. And I think it was positive that we responded quickly. We got a goal from Anthony. Martial, it's just so unlucky from his perspective. I think before the game, he's, 1 goal or assist every 19 minutes, something. He played 28 today and he got an assist, and I think that's just a massive blow for him. Getting injured, he must be so frustrated and that. But add on to that, I think leading on from the performance on Thursday, obviously Ronaldo missed loads of chances. It just was that, but it was pleasing to see him active, and it was pleasing to see that he actually got the winning goal today, and obviously Pickford. It wasn't great in terms of guarding its near post and that. But as for the second half, it was one of the, I don't think Everton particularly troubled us that much, but it wasn't like we didn't score. I mean, obviously, I'm sure we'll touch on Rashford's goal. For me, that should have done. When you look at Antonio's goal, which did stand today, it makes you wonder why Rashford's goal didn't count. But overall, it was a good performance. It was a difficult ground to go to, and I think we can be satisfied that we got the 3 points.
No, look, I think all your opening statements are pretty much how I saw the game. I saw a little bit of control here and there. I saw a little bit of fluidity here and there, but I saw basics going out the window more often than not. And I think that's the biggest concern for me. people in the comments are absolutely right, and you guys who touched on Dalot and his positional play, again, he was caught out, he was sloppy with his passing. I think the observation from Marcus with regards to the Casemiro partnership, I think you're right, Marcus. I think at this point in time, Dalot's a lot more comfortable with McTominay, but the reason he's comfortable with McTominay is because he's not used to McTominay going to him and requesting the football, which is what Casemiro does. So this is one of the things, and I wanted to ask you guys about Casemiro, because Mr. Ton and myself have been calling for Casemiro now for 4 weeks to start, or might be longer than that, might it, Mr. Ton? And yeah. I've seen a variety of different opinions about Casemiro. Some really respected knowledge in the group chat, not rating Casemiro, but some players that some people that do rate him. I, in particular, I thought he had a steady game. You're not going to go through 90 minutes without making a mistake. It just doesn't happen in football. You'll always give the ball away at some point. You'll always get caught in possession at some point. He's getting caught because the Premier League is a lot slower. You get a lot more space. But he'll adjust to that. So let's just quick fire go around about everybody's thoughts on Casemiro and what we think he can bring once he does settle into the side.
Yeah, what you just said, Stu, is I said it on a space afterwards. So it's going to go two ways for Casemiro. Are we going to play him into form, right, and he's going to get some form, or are we going to find out what you just mentioned, like Spain is a bit slower and things. Is his legs not really, he's at that age, is he going to tail off a bit, especially this fast league? Nobody knows. We can't say that until the end of the season, and then we can have a fair assessment on that. But as for, I think, was it Marcus? I don't know who said it about sideways, keeping it simple. That's what a DM is supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do as a DM. And sometimes it does look a bit simple, but that's literally what you're supposed to do. I was more impressed with the ball that, like I said, he passed to Ronaldo to break the lines that we don't really do a lot, and we need to see more in midfield. And that control thing, I mentioned that before, and that's one of the reasons why, not just the way he passes, but what his presence. And I mentioned it from the Leicester game when he was saying, Bruno, calm down. Like, was it Marcus once again said it today? He said it today, calm down. That's what you need sometimes in midfield. Someone to say, boys, calm it down now. Let's keep it simple. 1-2s. That's his experience is going to help. And I think if Varane can get back to fitness, I think because obviously they had a partnership, that will help as well. Partnerships on the pitch are very important. Like I said, I've said it before. I ain't going to criticize him or judge him. It's too soon. He just come to the Prem, just come to the club. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the season or whatever, then I will, or even next year, then we can talk about him. And when he has come on, though, there has been moments where he looks a bit legged, or is it? And someone mentioned it to me the other day. Is it a case scenario with Casemiro where he needs to literally be played up to speed, literally, because that might be the case with him. And I also think it's a situation with him where he looks better starting than coming on. Like a DM. DM is not someone you come on like sort of thing unless you're a certain profile DM. I feel like he's someone that needs to start the game, to fill the game. But that's just my opinion of him.
No, it's something I agree with. Look, in my youth, when I was a lot younger, I played DM, and I did it very, very simple. I was a disruptor. That was my game. And you're right, as a DM, to come in on 65, 70 minutes when you're playing against players that are already up to the pace of the game, it's very, very difficult. I think you're absolutely spot on. I'll go to you next, Rich, but I think you're absolutely spot on. You're going to have to play him to the pace. He's going to have to play himself into the pace. And the only way he's going to do that is by starting him. It really is as simple as that. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Casemiro, Rich?
It was good to see him start and actually get 90 minutes in his legs, because I think that's something that he hasn't had this season. So he needs more time in his legs. For me, yes, he was calm at times, but then there was other times where he was forcing it too much. And I don't know if that is because he hasn't started and the pace of the game. So, like first 10 minutes, you need to get your breath back. So I don't know if that had anything to play in it. But after he started settling down, was trying to talk to other players. He seemed to get going. I just want him to get a bit more defensive help from the other midfielders, personally. I don't want us to be over reliant on him just because he's that type of DM.
Jarvis mentioned that in his comment, Richie. Yeah,
okay.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a good point that you're making because I mean Jarvis knows his football, and I think you're right. He does need that little bit of help in defensively. He goes on to say actually, and another comment about Bruno still running around like a headless chicken, etc., 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 and it doesn't help the shape when you're doing it. So I wanted to bring that up because you're absolutely right, Richard. Absolutely right, mate.
That's cool. And I find sometimes, obviously, when Casemiro is in possession, just like Jarvis said, where Bruno's too high, I find sometimes it's hard to get the ball to him for him to then turn, because for me, and it's not down to just he's too high. I think it's you have to assess who is on the ball so you know if they could make that pass or not. You can't be over reliant to think that Casemiro can make that pass when he's not that, right? He was at Madrid and he was played in that role, right, just to break up play, to give the ball to the ball players in Cruz and Modric. So Bruno needs to be aware himself personally. So does Eriksen. Eriksen needs to come closer because he's not going to hit a 60-yard diagonal all the time to a winger or whatever. So you've got to shorten up this game. Yes, like Marcus said, go out to the fullbacks, get the ball again, and just go out the other side. Recycle the ball. Let's just keep the ball. But for me, I'm happy that he got 90 minutes. It's something that's needed because the 3 games that we've got next are going to be much, much vital for him to obviously perform anyway. But yeah,
certainly Newcastle are going to pull us all over the place in the middle of the park, but obviously the lads will talk about that next week. Marcus, wax lyrical if you want to, or as you would, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Richie 100%. And I saw someone who made a thread on Twitter. I can't remember which account it was, but it showed during the Manchester City game when we're defending and Bruno's pressing, running like a headless chicken, as he usually does. We have this weird 4-2-4 shape where basically we've got 4 people chasing for the ball and then 2 midfielders sitting in no man's land, and then the defense, and the gap between the defense and the midfield is so far. So now that, and obviously Casemiro wasn't playing in that game. So now that Casemiro is playing, you saw it again with Everton tonight at times where Casemiro knows to be sitting, he knows where to position himself. But when he wins the ball, it's like Bruno or Eriksen, they're too far forward. So, Richie's point is absolutely spot on. It's not so much that Casemiro needs protection because he's incapable of defending. It's more that when he does win the ball, he needs to release it quickly and he needs someone right around the corner. And so that's the thing. That's what people don't understand about defending. It's like, yeah, you might be great at slide tackling. You might have great athleticism, but it's like, what do you do when you win the ball? What's your next move? That's all about where your teammates are on the pitch. That's why we need our midfielders and our forward players to drop deep. It's not necessarily just to shield the back 4. But anyways, on the ball, I think there's this misconception that Casemiro can't play, he can't be a technical midfielder. He can't be somebody who's a deep lying playmaker. And the assist for Ronaldo today just absolutely puts those myths to bed. Yeah, he's never going to be as great as Frankie de Jong. We all know that. But I think he is capable of playing those line breaking passes. He is capable of being someone who has the vision and foresight to see someone making a run in behind. And that's important in a CDM. You can't just be a destroyer. There has to be more to your game. So I think Casemiro is going to be a great player for United. I just think he needs minutes. He needs minutes in the tank, and he needs time to build chemistry with the fullbacks, build chemistry with the people in front of him. And it's only a matter of time before he starts dictating the game. Even today, like there were moments, like Richie said, where he looked nervous. I think that's partially down to him not being match sharp, but that's also down to the fact that he likes to conduct the game. He likes to pull the strings. He likes to be in control of the tempo. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Once he's on the same wavelength as everyone else, I think we got a ball on our hands, man.
No, absolutely.
I don't want to interrupt John, but I remember you Marcus, and I might be wrong if it was someone else, but I remember you mentioned about how you could see a midfield of Donny, Casemiro, and Eriksen. I think it was you. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it was me actually.
I can see that if Donny comes back, if he does,
Yeah,
right now he's like, where's Wally? But I can see that. I can see some form of control and Donny understanding certain things and movements.
Yeah,
And I could actually see that. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, whenever somebody mentions Donny's name nowadays, my mood just goes down because it's just like, what a tragic story, man. I don't even know if he's fit at the moment, but yeah, I still believe that midfield could work on paper. The only issue is like just getting the synergy right is important. And also, one thing I realized today, right? Bruno and Eriksen, they're very similar. Okay, now Bruno loses the ball a lot more recklessly, and Bruno has a lot of deficiencies to his game. But in the way they operate and what they're trying to do is very similar. And I feel like if you add Donny into the mix, he's also a very creative player. The only issue with that is he needs to be disciplined enough to help in defensive transition. So whether you're playing Donny and Eriksen, or it's Donny and Bruno, or it's Eriksen and Bruno, the only issue with that midfield is you can't just leave Casemiro alone to defend, win the ball, and still go and find you up the field. You have to have the discipline to come, drop deep, pick up the ball, get on the half turn, and push it up the field. And that's the only thing. I noticed today that was a big issue. And that's why I'm not really sure that this thing of having like two creative players and then Casemiro is going to work. I think you need a McTominay, or you need a Fred, you need somebody who's got the legs to go up and down the whole 90 minutes. I don't know, but that's just my 2 cents.
Well, maybe Jimmy Garner could have done that for us, perhaps. I mean, he changed my opinion of him when he came on today. John, give us your thoughts on Casemiro.
Yeah, I'll touch upon in my first statement. I do think he brought a greater degree of stability to the midfield. I do think that, like people say, he didn't play perfectly. Today, we touched upon, he did sell Ronaldo for a goal. That came from him tackling, I can't remember what Everton player was, but he tackled him after he initially gave the ball away, didn't he, in the midfield? Right. And he played him through. It was a great goal. He, of course, should have got a goal today because he just ended it wide of the post. But for me, he brings a degree of stability to the midfield, to the back four, and I thought it was improved today. And my bigger issue was Spandalo and that kind of thing. I do agree with Marcus' point before about there's an issue with Eriksen and Bruno, in my opinion. I don't think there's enough protection that midfield. It still looks a little bit unbalanced, the midfield, in my opinion. I personally think you need to look at trying for a couple of games, dropping one of them. In my opinion, it should be Bruno, for example, because I think today he, I think there was one in the second half. Do you remember? I can't remember who played the ball over the top, but he got the ball in Everton's penalty area and tried flicking it back. You know, if it kept come off to Ronaldo, it would have been brilliant, but otherwise he just lost possession. For me, just tries too hard at times. And I think that you need a little bit more balance in midfield. I do think it's worth trying Casemiro with either McTominay or Fred, perhaps, the next game, and that just to provide us with a little bit more balance. In my opinion, I think Casemiro obviously did provide. It was good that he played 90 minutes today, in my opinion. He did, like I say, bring a bit of stability to the midfield, and that he protects the back four better than in previous games. And I do think that overall you do have to, if you want us to progress as a team, then he has to play regularly, particularly in the Premier League. So overall, he played well today. I wouldn't say it was a perfect performance, but it was improvement based on the last couple of games.
No, John, absolutely. In fact, again, lads, you're all spot on. Everybody, this is why you should tune into All for United, because you're not going to get anyone coming on here, shouting and swearing and screaming and trying to antagonise fans of Manchester United. You've got people who actually know what football's about, understand the game, love Manchester United and talk, but can actually talk about the game from a competent point of view. You want sensationalism, go and watch any other channel. But if you want real fan debate, come talk for United, because that's what you get. And the guys in the comments, by the way, you're exactly right. You know, you fuel us. We listen and we read what you say, and we can comment on it. And we just think at the end of the day, our opinions, our own opinions, but these guys know ball, and that's really key. I want to move on to something that's going to kind of surprise me today. And you know me, guys, and my defensive side of the game. I love the defensive side of the game. I thought Lindelof and Martinez partnership was very, very promising today. I'm not saying it's the one to move forward. We know that Varane has got to come back. And Varane was a big miss today. But I don't know about you guys, but I thought Lindelof was not exceptional today. But I thought the two of them were excellent. Yeah, Mr. Tom, what are your thoughts?
I've always said this about Lindelof. If you're in a team that dominates the football, Lindelof's perfect for that team. All right, if you're going to dominate the football for 90 minutes, it's the other part of the game. He's not aggressive enough. I feel like he's so passive. So instead of smelling out danger, clearing it or getting rid of it or doing something, just being proactive, they call it in football. He's very just standoffish, and just that's the part of his game I don't like. But everything else, like as you ball playing defender, if that's what they want to call him, he's good at that. But that's if you're in a team that dominates, 70% of the football 9 times out of 10. But it's the other side where you saw it, especially in second half. There was moments, where he just. But that's the part of his game where it's concerning. Where I say Varane's a bit better at. He's a bit more aggressive in moments. But I would say ball playing wise, he's better than Varane. But it's the part, the aggressiveness of the game and being proactive at the game is the part what concerns me. But he had a decent performance today. I do admit that. It's just that's the only part that concerns me. He's always a very passive defender, I would call it.
I know it's going to sound daft, I know, but he is very Swedish. He's very Scandinavian. He's very like a Finnish racing driver. They're quiet. They're very introvert, but my God, get them behind a wheel and then that's it. You've got it. I just think today, I tend to agree with you, by the way. I don't think he's aggressive enough. You're absolutely right. He's not bad in the air and he's a great ball playing centre half. But I was quite surprised today. I was kind of worried about it. Ten Hag had no choice. He had to go with it. But I didn't think it was the world's worst. What was your take on it, Rich?
It's Lindelof. That's his Lindelof.
I was getting that. Yeah. Very Scandinavian,
Yeah. I call it. My nickname for him is Mr. Scared of His Own Shadow, because to me, he's always.
Some people call him Linda Soft. Some people call him Linda Soft.
Yeah,
they do.
They do. Yeah.
I just find, I know, for me, I ain't got no problems with his ball playing side of the game, but it's the physicality, it's the defensive part. You're a defender, right?
Yeah.
It's not every time you have to drop off. Do some front foot defending. Be aggressive. For me, he lets the centre forward dictate how it's going to be when he plays against him, and he should be dictating what's happening. For me, nudge the centre forward a little bit. Let him know he's going to be in the game. You make things too easy. The centre forwards must look around when the team sheets come out and think, I'm playing against Lindelof. Well, I'm not going to get pushed around. That's why you tend to see the centre forwards when we play again. When the last couple of games that he's played, you tend to see they drift over to his side more than Martinez, because Martinez is a little more aggressive because he has to be, because his partner is not assertive enough to do that. And that, for me,
Richie, that's music to my ears, pal.
Yeah,
absolutely music to my ears. I love that.
And sorry. And just to me, I would love to play against Lindelof, because I'm gonna bag a brace. I'm gonna bag a hat trick if I'm playing against him. I'm playing on him, and I'm gonna.
I just want to say this as well. Yeah, Tronell's at 6'3", 6'4", so that's why I'm saying this, isn't it?
my game as I got older was modelled with aggression. I'm not the biggest, tallest centre half in the world, but I'd fight you all day long. And I
no
would.
centre forward wants a game like that. They
They
don't
do.
want it. They don't want to be touched. They just something they don't want to. But if they can do that to you, and you're allowing it, they're gonna. It's gonna be a walk in the park. And for me,
they're gonna wrestle you. Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just my take on Lindelof anyway. But it's just Lindelof.
No, I like it. I like your take, Rich. That's how it should be, mate. That's how it should be. Marcus, we've had many a conversation about Lindelof, and he's a bit Marmite, isn't he? Let's be fair. But again, I thought he was steady today. I guess that's what I was getting at. I know we got nowhere to go with it. As Sim has just said, actually, good to see. I think it was Sim. Good to see Varane come on for those 2 minutes. Is he injury free again? Will he be back? Perhaps not Thursday, but will he play at the weekend against Newcastle? So that'll be quite interesting. But yeah, just interested in your thoughts. And then straight in, John, after, please, mate, with Lindelof.
I mean, like Richie said, it's just Lindelof. You know what I'm saying? You should actually trademark that. Make a shirt. It will sell very well because it sums up Lindelof perfectly. Like I've always said about Lindelof that he's one player who he will give you a steady performance. He can put in a shift, but he's never going to go to the levels that you need at Manchester United. And the thing is, like Mr. Ton is spot on about him being a great ball-playing defender and being suitable when we're dominating possession. But when he's under pressure, when he's under the cosh, he just ain't that guy. And I think that's why he plays well next to Martinez, because he can kind of let Martinez drift out of position and do the enforcer role while he can sit back and just be the cover. Very similar to Maguire, right? Because Maguire is the same, very timid, very shy, and because of his deficiencies, you can clearly see. Go back to the Brighton game and watch it again. Like he was making a conscious effort not to commit. He was letting Martinez try cut off the crosses and do everything else while he just sat back. So that's just Lindelof, man. What I like about Lindelof is that he's not someone who's overconfident. He's aware of his limitations, and one thing you can never fault him on is his positional awareness. Now I know he makes mistakes, especially recently because he's rusty, but one thing you can never fault Lindelof on is being an intelligent defender, because he knows what he's good at and what he's not good at. So he's always trying to position himself in the best place possible, and that's where I can't fault him. That's why he's got the nickname Iceman, because he's calm and collected. But yeah, it's just Lindelof. At the end of the day, I guess it was positive to see Varane coming back on. That was cool.
That is quite intelligent play, though. What you're describing there, Marcus, is quite intelligent football. And we've been crying out for intelligent footballers with Manchester United for a long, long time. Everyone on this panel has individually spoken about that in various different shows. About we lack intelligence sometimes, and that's not just in-game management. That's just a sheer ability to use your eyes and your ears that you were born with. And that carries you a lot further in a game of football than your legs will ever carry you. So, no, I totally agree with that. Sorry, John. Didn't mean to interrupt you there, mate.
Yeah, don't worry. No, I think it always makes me laugh with Lindelof, because he's the one player where nobody loves him but nobody hates him. He's probably the only player in the whole team where he hasn't got a fan club but nobody hates him.
Well,
I think it's quite an achievement from his perspective. But yeah, to touch on the points I made, I do think we were a bit more solid tonight defensively. I don't think Everton particularly threatened us too much in the game. I think obviously Albert-Lewin came on, didn't he? And obviously he's a threat in the end. We dealt with that threat reasonably well. I think Lindelof. I think the thing about the partnership, we touched on in previous games, like Varane's looked better with Martinez. Now Lindelof tonight looks better with Martinez. I think the key is Martinez. I'm sure you'll touch upon this, Stu. Like when you think of a centre-half partnership, you need someone who's really aggressive, and perhaps someone who's, still a brilliant defender, but someone who, holds back a little bit more. Like, when you think of the great partnership, like Ferdinand Vidic, let's say, Vidic was always the aggressor, getting his foot stuck in that kind of thing. And I think Varane, he said his idol was Ferdinand. Ferdinand wasn't quite the same aggressive type as what Vidic was.
Right.
I think that's what you get with central partnership. I think with Martinez, the addition he's made, even if he doesn't play the perfect game, he's the aggressive one. He's the one getting stuck in, and you could see it tonight with some of the interceptions he made, some ball through the balls he played through, and that kind of thing. He's a great addition to the team, and therefore you need the player alongside him. You don't necessarily need to be as aggressive. You just need to watch how he plays, and just, the other one can hold back a little bit. If he misses something, then the other one hold back. I think it was good to see Lindelof. I do think he had a steady game today, in my opinion. Obviously, Varane coming on, it was pleasing that his injury wasn't too serious. It's important to stress he won an important heading stoppage from that corner, didn't he? So he possibly won us the game with that header potentially. So I do think it was good to see that. I do think overall, aside from the City game, since the Liverpool game and onwards, we have looked more defensive, solid, and I think the key to that is probably Martinez. But I think overall our defence, aside from Dallo, who obviously gives the ball away so often, but overall, we were more solid at the back. And I also think Luke Shaw had a good game today as well. I thought I
want to move on to Luke Shaw next, actually, and then while we're talking about Luke Shaw, I want you to each think of a player that you felt was not outstanding today, but was key to the win, key to the performance. And then once we've spoken about Luke Shaw, then I want you to talk about your individual players. And then we're going to have to finish off on Mr. 700. We'll have to get a T-shirt with 700 on it. We've got to talk about it. We can't not. I mean, it's an amazing milestone. But look, I said backstage, actually, as you're all on my witness, I thought Luke Shaw was our player of the match today, man of the match. I thought he was excellent. I thought he was outstanding. It was great to see. I did say on Wednesday that I thought it was time to take Millicea at the first team, and also Sancho at the first team, and McTominay at the first team. And I think those changes were right. And I think, they've helped us win this game of football, which is what we need. It's a notoriously difficult place to go to. So I was delighted to see this ruthlessness that Ten Hag's come in. But just a couple of minutes each, minute each on Luke Shaw, please, guys, because he gets a thumbs up from me today.
For me, he had a decent game, good game, and done his job. I didn't think it was spectacular or nothing out of this world. It was just he done his job. Something that I did notice, though, this is tactically, I think it's more of a Ten Hag thing, is that because people were getting on to Malacia about, attacking output. But if you notice it today as well with Luke Shaw, that doesn't seem to be the side that we want to create the attacking output from. And I think that's a tactical thing from Ten Hag, because especially the first half, a lot of things were going through Dalot and the right side, and I noticed it. So I think that might be a tactical thing, because I see some things on the timeline about, Malacia possession and all this stuff. But in his league last season, he had the most shots in the whole league, the most shots. So it seems like it's a tactical thing not to use the left fullback as much, because I noticed it today. That's just a tactical thing. It's just something that I've noticed with Ten Hag. But like I said, he went about his job. It's not something, I didn't think it was a performance where, wow, Luke Shaw. But I just feel like we have to be careful, because a lot of these players, including Luke Shaw, they're up for contracts. And I've always said it on this channel. We've got a left back out there, Alvaro Fernandez, He's got 10 games. He got 10 games and 4 assists. I always said I didn't feel like we needed to buy left back. We got that kid, but that's just my opinion and personal preference. But yes, like I said, we just got to be very careful. Contract renews are up and that.
He was at it again, wasn't he, for Preston over the weekend?
Like I said, 10 appearances for 10 appearances and 4 assists.
Yeah, he's playing very well. He's playing very well for Preston. He really is. Yeah, Richie.
I'm not going to say much on Luke Shaw, because I'll be honest, I just don't rate him. He had a steady game, but there were still occasions where he's let the winger go past him, or the winger was at the back post. Anthony Gordon nearly scored. That's because Luke Shaw switched off and didn't know where the hell his winger was. In in terms of obviously getting back, there was a time where Anthony Gordon, had the ball. Luke Shaw pushed him off. He actually managed to get back, but then there was another time he had to chase Gordon. Someone else intercepted the ball, and Luke Shaw looked shattered. His hands were on his knees, and he was just shattered. I think, for me, yes, he had a good game. Can he continue it? That's another thing. But I think that as a club, it's 9 years now. We just don't renew his contract and get rid of him. That's just me, anyway.
No, fair enough. That's that's the information that we want from you guys. You've got to be honest, and you've got to be true to yourself. If you don't feel he's right for us, it has to be said. I'm kind of on the fence with him at the minute. There was always a player in there with Luke Shaw. I think we know there was always a player in there, but he's always struggled with his weight, and personal responsibility comes into me for me with that one. Get yourself fit, get yourself strong, and get yourself adapted to the weight that you are, that enables you to play for 90 minutes or 95 minutes. I did notice on a couple of occasions he did look tired. He looked slightly off the pace, but on other occasions I thought he commanded the left side quite well. One of those. Excellent with Rashford again, by the way, though. And that partnership just seems to materialise quite nicely from way back in 2019/2020 when Rashford was playing particularly well. So who knows? I just felt at the time Richie Malacia was making too many mistakes, which, were costing us in games. He was a bit overzealous in possession a couple of times. I think he's a fabulous player, great talent. But I just felt it was time just to take him out of the equation for maybe 1 or 2 games and then see where we go from there. Marcus?
Yeah, I think Luke Shaw came back into the team at the right time, simply because obviously Malacia is still a very young player and you don't just want to leave him to develop bad habits. I mean, the whole point of having competition in the team is that you have the freedom to rotate. And look, let's not get it twisted. Luke Shaw is on borrowed time at Manchester United. He is. But the thing is, I feel like letting him go in the summer wouldn't have made that much sense because I don't think we would have replaced him. You know what I mean? So as much as I'm very much in the boat that he needs to go, I feel like there's just bigger problems at the moment. There's bigger fish to fry in that team. And I've always said this. I don't think Luke Shaw is the reason. In fact, I think I did say this in the preview. I said I don't think Luke Shaw starting is going to be the reason we lose to Everton. And so it's come to pass. Like, I feel like even though he makes mistakes, even though he doesn't close down wingers who are coming in to cross at times, and he has glaring weaknesses, I feel like he's decent enough for us to, get a tune out of him and get over the line with results. So yeah, I don't know. I was more worried about Lindelof starting, to be honest with you, and the prospect of potentially seeing Maguire than I was about Luke Shaw starting. So what I'm trying to say is there's bigger issues in the team, and today was a decent performance, yeah, but it's Luke Shaw. I ain't changing my mind yet because what if Malacia gets injured and Luke Shaw has to start every week? We all know how that ends. He has a boost of momentum whenever there's competition in the team, but as soon as he settles into the position, then his form drops, which is just weird to me. It's like you should. That's when you should kick on. When you've got the reassurance that this is your position, that's when you should be performing. But anyways, it was a decent performance. So, I'll allow it with Luke Shaw today, I'll give him his flowers for today.
Yeah, excellent. John?
Yeah, Luke Shaw, I've said a few weeks ago, I do think it will be time to move it on potentially. But I think it's important to stress a much broader point with Ten Hag. He's not afraid to drop players when they're not performing. Luke Shaw was dropped after that Brentford game, and he didn't play a game after that for a few weeks. But Lashley's had a couple of games. Luke Shaw comes back into the team, and he did do well. I'm not convinced about him long term. I'm not sure he has the mentality to succeed long term. In regards to if you want to be winning titles and that kind of thing. But I think it's important to stress the wider thing that if you have, like, Maguire's been dropped from the team, Ronaldo had a period on the sidelines and that kind of thing, that, it's lessons we learned. Obviously, Malassy's been dropped today, so Sancho, and it's important to stress in a couple of weeks' time if players in those positions don't perform, they'll come back in. You got to make sure that you're eager and that kind of thing. And that's been where I would give credit to Shaw. He has shown that eagerness. It was helped that he went away with England. He played against Germany. Obviously, Maguire didn't have the best game, but Shaw did get a goal in the game, for example. He played reasonably well, and I think that has given him confidence. But I'm not sure about him long term. I'm really not. But you got to give credit to him. He's come in, he's learned, he's clearly worked hard, in training, that kind of thing. And I think it's a lesson to all players that going forwards that you still have a chance of getting into this scene, even if you've been dropped for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, excellent.
I just want to add something quick, Stu.
Yeah, go for it.
That I don't know if it was Rich or Marcus mentioned is the winger thing, and that's one thing is the biggest concern. Ten Hag wants to play on the front foot. So one thing that tactically I noticed about Malaysia, he does well, even though his mistakes, is that he wants to always be on his man. It doesn't matter. Yeah. He wants to always be on the winger, whereas Luke Shaw likes to cover the space instead of actually be on his man. And that's one thing. And someone mentioned it to me the other day. If Malaysia ever gets dropped and Luke Shaw gets into the team, Ten Hag will realise why he dropped Luke Shaw in the first place, if that makes sense. Because of that. And I saw that again today. That's one thing I saw, is that instead of marking your man, he just marks the space instead of being right front foot on the winger. As soon as he gets the ball, be on him, be covering him, be jockeying him. Do you know what I mean? And that's one thing I don't know. I've said this. Luke Shaw might be a better centre back than a fullback. That's just my opinion.
I feel like he doesn't have the agility, hey, because I saw it even like in the early days with Maguire. He used to always like tuck in, exactly what you're saying. Like he used to give the winger space, and it's like he's almost afraid to try go up, right in front of the winger, because I don't know, maybe he's afraid of getting skinned. I don't think he has the agility to like jockey quickly enough. I don't know what it comes down to, but I noticed that as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Right, guys, I'm going to mix it up now then. So, Marcus, we'll actually start with you. Give me your player who you felt was...
This is tough. I'm going to steal Rich's answer, I'm going to say De Gea. I think he came off his line a couple of times.
He did twice. I saw it.
Yeah, he came off his line a couple of times.
Well today.
Yeah. I mean, he claimed... I don't know how many crosses he claimed, but I only remember the one towards the end of the game where I think it was like the 89th minute. That was a really important one because there was two Everton players actually on the back post.
I think there was one other just before as well.
Yeah. Like he did well today, and not just in terms of coming off of his line for saves, even like when we were in very dangerous situations on the counter, he came up and booted the ball away. So he showed some sweeping keeping capabilities today that we haven't seen since preseason. So hopefully, that's a sign of development under Ten Hag, and it's not just a one-off fluke for our sake. And so for me, De Gea has to be player of the game. I mean, obviously shot stopping as well. I mean, when I think it was the 91st minute where I forget who took the shot. I really forget. I'm not sure if it was Gordon or someone else, but that could have easily gone in. And he's basically stretched the full length of his body and got a fingertip onto it and sent it for a corner. Magnificent save. So just all around great performance from a keeper.
Lovely. John? John?
I very agree. I think,
you can't have De Gea.
Can't have Ronaldo. Oh.
You can't have De Gea. You've got to have somebody different.
Sorry. Yeah, right.
Yeah, me. What's going on?
I'm going to use Fulham player. I'll go with Casemiro. I know he brought stability to midfield and that kind of thing. So I'm plus he set up the winning goal so I'll go with Casemiro.
All right, Richie.
Marcus nicked it. I said.
You can't have
do you know what? I'm going to say Martinez. He's come in for me as a centre half. It's been a breath of fresh air watching him. Not just his aggressiveness or anything. I think he communicates with the other centre half. I think his ball playing is something that we have missed. A lot of people may say Harry Maguire was a ball playing centre half, but I've never been convinced that he has ever been one. And Martinez is the embody of what a ball playing centre half is for me. You see, occasionally breaks the lines with passes. He plays a steady pass. He will get it even though the opposition player is a few yards off him, and he's still calm on the ball. For me, that's what I want. That's what we've been missing. I just think he does need, but the only criticism I have of him, I think he just needs to step it up a little bit more and play a little more risky passes like crossfield balls to the winger. And I think that is what we are actually missing from him. Other than that, I was very happy with his performance again tonight.
No, excellent. Totally agree with all of that. Mr. Tom, final word for you on this one, then we'll talk about the main man, CR700.
I'm going to be very controversial. Are you not ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Well, that said, he deserved man of the match just for that alone. You know, that's the way to lead into it, Stu. There you go.
You know how difficult that goal was to take on his left
To be
foot.
fair, yeah, I thought he was going to hit into the fans. I can't lie. I thought he was
I thought he was putting that in rosette as well. I'm not gonna lie. I was when he scored, I was more relieved than anything. I was like, okay.
He managed.
His legs are gone. His legs are completely gone.
I know he managed to get over the ball. I expected him to lean back slightly. He didn't. He got over the ball for the first time, and that's what it was. And to be fair, I don't think Pickford was expecting the clean strike, and that's what the issue Pickford had. Look, guys, we got a few minutes left, 5 minutes left or so. Wax lyrical about Ronaldo, guys, all of you, you know, because you've got to give credit where credit is due. You have to give credit.
Let Marcus go. Marcus is loading up. Look, Marcus is loading up. Let Marcus go. He's ready.
Goals in, what was it, 950, 970 club matches. It's phenomenal. It's about 0.7 goals a game, isn't it? Something like that. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
don't mind.
There's no doubting his goal scoring ability. You know, Ronaldo's a phenomenal goal scorer. You know, his performance against Ammonia was really surprising because the one thing that made him one of the greatest players ever, he just couldn't do. Tonight, he gets one opportunity and then he takes it on his weaker foot. And it's not just the shot itself, it's the positioning, the way he was able to outpace the Everton defender, be in the position at the right time, not be offside as well, and then know that, you know, this I've got to take a shot, otherwise this attack is wasted. So props to him, man. Honestly, props to him. One thing I will say about Ronaldo is, even though I've been very critical of him, you know, especially after the Ammonia game, I will say that I've always defended him when it comes to the media. The media tried to paint him out as this guy who's selfish, who's narcissistic, has a huge ego, thinks his farts don't smell, and he's better than everyone else. And it couldn't be further from the truth. He just wants to win. And if there's anybody in that Manchester United team who deserves to leave because maybe they have high standards, it's Ronaldo. Because unlike all the other players in that dressing room, bar maybe De Gea, he was actually here in the Fergie days. So he knows what winning's all about. He's given a chunk of his career to this club and created a lot of memories for a lot of Manchester United fans. And then on top of that, he came back. He lost a child, came back and still continued to play even after that. So I've always defended Ronaldo when it comes to his mentality and his professionalism, to be fair. It's just that I feel like, you know, time is running out and he's inevitably going to leave. So I find it really hard to celebrate when he scores and stuff like that, because I can't, in the back of my head, I just can't deal with the fact that he's just going to leave anyway. So I'm just like, you know, what's the point of it, you know? But that's just me personally.
Well said, Marcus. Just jump in, guys, now when you feel, you know, who wants to go next.
Yeah, I think he's probably the greatest goal scorer I've ever seen in my lifetime. Arguably, in football history, I think he's brilliant. Obviously, on Thursday night, didn't have his best game in front of the goal, and that I still think he had a good performance. So Rashford for a couple of goals and that kind of thing. I think he I thought he played well on Thursday, aside from not scoring, and I was pleased that he came off the bench. And it's written stars after a bad game on Thursday in front of goal that he scored the winner today. It's Ronaldo all those for you, and he's on. I think he's on 104 goals. So hopefully before too long, hopefully he'll reach his 150 before too long, and I think he's obviously been a world class football. Well, I'll say world class, universe class football, whatever you want to use him and Messi of this world. But he's been a superb servant for the team, the club, and indeed the wider football world. And he deserves it fully today. So well done, getting the winning goal.
Excellent. Richie? What can I say?
What can I say? Thanks that he got the winning goal today. Incredible career. Can't lie about that. 700, is it club goals, isn't it?
700 club goals.
Yeah, 700 club goals. It's an amazing feat. We might not see this player or a player like this again. There's Messi as well. I don't think we'll see two players like this ever again, personally. Obviously, Messi's better, but still. No,
I think Messi's on. Is Messi on something like 631 club goals or something?
Yeah, he's close behind Ronaldo, I believe.
It's incredible.
I think Messi's probably the better natural talent, but I think Ronaldo's probably the better goal scorer.
Yeah, he's the better goal scorer. Messi's better player, obviously. But Ronaldo, great, great career. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be sad to see him go at the end of the season, because I'll be honest, it was sad to see him go when he first left this club, and that's something that, well, it hurt me to the core at the time. Anyway, I'll be honest. But yeah, great player, just great player, and like I said, might not see another player like him again have a career like that as well.
No, I totally agree. Mr. Ton, you get the final word on Ronaldo?
Well, Ronaldo, he's had a obviously great goal scoring career, great memories. But there's one memory that's gonna haunt me. He broke my heart. He broke my heart. He flirted with a club for 2 years. What's that song? I don't wanna know.
Mario
if you're playing me, keep it on the
low. How many of you, you know what? Onana in the midfield, Trevor. How many of you were thinking that Rihanna song?
Wow, there you go.
I will never forget him breaking my heart that time, and flirting with that club for 2 years, and then leaving us. And that, at that stage of my life, I was like, Ronaldo actually left us.
It broke me, man.
And you know what the worst part is like, because he did it at Juve as well. I think he did it at United as well, where he put out a statement saying, "Yeah, I'm not leaving. I love the club." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, he always used to do that with us as well.
Yeah.
Then I have to give him credit for what he's done in his career. You have to, and I think people forget the winger that he was at United, and the way that some people he didn't dribble, he didn't have close control. Are you mad? Ronaldo dribbled, he had close control. I remember 2 seasons in a row he got double figures assists and goals. He was more of a winger before he then was moving into a striker. He was a winger. Yeah, and I people discredit that period, the early days at United for him. That substitute appearance for Bolton. People discredit. It's like they forget that Ronaldo, how skillful and fun he was, and people just say, "Oh, he can't dribble, he can't do this." Go back. If anyone got time, go back, watch that Ronaldo. That Ronaldo was naughty.
I think this would be another show we can speak a bit more into Ronaldo, because I've got a lot more to say anyway.
Yeah, I think you're. I mean, my take about Ronaldo is, look, I'm a lot older than you guys, so I've seen players come and go at Manchester United, and Andre Kanchelskis is one that I was hugely pissed off about. I couldn't believe it when he left. I was hugely pissed off about that. But Ronaldo came to us as a kid, a skinny kid. All he had in his locker was tricks, as Mr. Tom said, and dribbling ability. but he was one of the most forward-thinking footballers that we've ever seen in the game, certainly in my generation. And watching this young kid develop into a man and a astonishing specimen of an athlete who hired a sprint coach so he could get one, so he's quicker than anyone else. He was one of the very, very first with nutrition. I know people accredit Wenger for changing diets in the UK, but, he had his own chef, Ronaldo. He knew what he needed to do to improve his game. And players today, they can't be bothered. They just can't be bothered there's no work ethic in young footballers today because they're getting checks every week of 50, 60,000 quid. They don't think they've got to work anymore. Well, you do, I'm afraid. And and the only way you're going to score 700 club goals is to work your bollocks off and to make sure you're the very, very best at what you can be. And he came to United at the right time, and the types of players that we had, the leaders in the dressing room, they would stamp on you. They would stand on you if you made even the slightest mistake. And we haven't got that. We're slowly building characters again, aren't we? Slowly but surely building characters. We're not quite there yet. So, look, congratulations to Cristiano, man.
And I think you made an important point about Ronaldo's development, Stu, because he came to United at 17 years old. It had Van Nistelrooy, it had Roy Keane, Scholes, Neville, all those players. And I think my granddad got arrested, so he always used to go in the ballet dance all the time with all his bells and he needed some tough medicine. It took him about 3 years to get really going, to get really consistent at United, for those who remember it around then. But then after that, he just took off, and it was just, if anyone wants to learn, and we mentioned about the Messi Ronaldo thing. I think Messi had the greater natural ability. I don't necessarily think Ronaldo was necessarily naturally gifted. He just worked so extremely hard to get to that level that he's managed to. And I think that's what a lot of people can learn from. I think there was something I read a few months ago that if the world had Ronaldo's diet, the way he's looked after himself, know that the footballing world would improve by about 20% if every player looked after themselves like Ronaldo was. And you might think 20% is not massive. It will be massive. And I just think when Ronaldo's looked after himself for 20 years, however long he's playing, it's if anyone wants to look at how to get the best out of yourself, just look how he's done it over the past 20 years.
Absolutely phenomenal. Look, guys, thank you ever so much. It's been a pleasure having you guys on with me again, including you, Marcus. And I'm only joking, pal. I'm only joking. Look, we've got various shows coming up next week. I think we've got Reese and the team back on Monday. I'll be on the Wednesday show. Are you with Reese tomorrow?
I'm on tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. I don't know if the gaffer Ben's watching this. My phone's not working, so I'm gonna DM you my other number, my work number, so just in case you message me.
Yeah, lovely. Wednesday with Simon. I'm part of his team, and then we'll be back Sunday. Whether I'm hosting or Cal's hosting, I don't know. Guys, thank you very much. Thank everyone for watching. If you could please like and subscribe. Does mean a lot to us if you hit the like button, hit the notification button, so you know when videos are coming, videos you can catch up in. Myself and Abdul will be recording a tactical special at some point this week. We've been schedules and that's been difficult to get us together, but we are working on getting a regular schedule coming in. Well, some news will be dropping over the next few weeks about what's going to be happening with World Cup shows, which you guys, will obviously be welcome. Guys, can you just give everyone an idea where you are, where they can see you? You can abuse me at @StuWooly if you wish on Twitter. Mr. Tom,
catch me, as you can see, Mr. Ton, Mr. _CO Ton on Twitter. I'm always on Twitter, Spaces, night, day, whenever. If I'm at work and I'm at home, whatever, you can catch me there. We gossip. We can talk about football. We can talk about life. We can talk about anything. You can even DM me. We can talk about football, wherever you want. I'm there.
Excellent. Richie?
Yeah. yeah, catch me on Twitter. I'm always on Spaces with Ton. You see us all on there. Obviously, my thumbnail under there, Richie Trend 10. Like Ton said, DM us, come in Spaces, interact with us, get to know us, talk football, whatever. Yeah.
Excellent. Marcus?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. I upload daily at Triple M, and obviously on Twitter, I'm very active. So if you want to interact, you can find me there as well.
And John, apart from you give the women's channel a plug, please.
Yeah, I was about to. Thank you. Yeah, so if you want, if you can, support the women's channel there. I think we've got a show lined up. We tend to have one every Monday and Friday. Unfortunately, in recent weeks, we haven't been able to stream as many shows as we hoped, but over the next few weeks, we should be able to line up a few more shows and that. So yeah, shout out to women. They're playing on Saturday. Beg your pardon, Sunday at 12 o'clock, just before the Newcastle game. So just shout them out. And by the way, England's women beat USA's women are friendly.
They did 2-1, didn't they?
Night as well. So yeah.
Yeah, if you get a chance to tune into our sister station, that's All for United MUFC. Also, if you ever get a chance to go to Lee Sports Village, it's £6 a ticket. And the football is of exceptionally high standards. So it'd be great to see some of you guys go down there. Also tune into Spaces. Off United has Spaces. Mr. Ton and Richie are always on our Spaces, co-hosting. Absolutely brilliant. So tune on to that. Guys, thank you ever so much. It's been a great show as always. And we will, if I get this right, we will see you next week. Thank you, guys. All the very best.